Welcome back. Well, yes, indeed, continuing our focus, looking ahead of the general elections. Well, joined this morning by Chief Chekwas Okorie, who is the presidential candidate of United Progressive Party, that's UPP. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much.
Well, talking about our preparations for the elections, before we come over to the peace pacts that has been signed, give us your assessment first and foremost. All that INEC has done and the briefings your party, political parties have had with INEC, how would you assess our preparedness for these elections?
Well, I will say that INEC has given me and my party much confidence in their preparation for the elections, because we have witnessed quite a number of elections conducted by INEC, and this one appears to be the most prepared election that is coming up, in the sense that certain measures have been put in place to assure certain level of transparency and credibility of the process that have never been there in the past. There is a hope that people's vote will count, because measures have been put in place to guarantee that. And I think there will be far more participation in this election than we have had in the recent past, or since actually the history of party politics in Nigeria. We are looking at approximately 80% collection of PVC at this point in time. And if at the end of the day we have up to 60% participation in the election, that would have been the highest we can record, perhaps anywhere in Africa. And so I think the Nigerian people may, after this election, say indeed that they have elected leaders at all levels.
This 80% you say is the recent figure that INEC has released.
Yeah.
But what about before the elections were rescheduled? Do you think that
INEC was not as prepared? They are better prepared now, but even at that time, one could say that they were still prepared up to that point. I say this because we have never had anything close to 60% participation in the history of Nigerian general election. And by the time INEC had that problem, they were already at above 65% distribution. And you are not going to expect 100% performance. But there's that doesn't rule out the fact that the postponement has given INEC more time, and Nigerians also, to get more serious about their right to determine who leads them. People were actually reluctant to go and get their voting cards, especially the PVCs. And at the point, many people were not prepared to even go to receive those things, because they felt that they had only two candidates. Of course, no thanks to the media that promoted simply two candidates. And I'm coming.
I was coming there.
Yeah.
Too.
So that made some people felt that they didn't quite have any option between the two. And we are not Nigerians were not the only ones to express it. Even the international community said we are faced with very terrible options.
Just let me come in here so that I can bring that perspective
in,
because I was going to ask that too. Your party, the UPP, has it done enough in the area of sensitization, towards the 2015 elections for the electorates, as well as for your party?
Yeah, UPP has done quite a lot in that regard. The thing is that we are not expected to do things the way others have chosen to do. We have done things in a cost-effective manner. If you have the luxury of jamborees or cultural fiestas where people dress up and come and be entertained, even just like the type we watched yesterday, fair enough, you can go ahead and have that, because that is what luxury excess watches can result in. But if you don't have that luxury, but you have certain amount of money in your watches to prosecute your campaign, you choose methods that are more effective than simply these jamborees. I'll come to that. Let me really land there, because we used traditional methods of canvassing for votes.
Is it working for you?
It worked for us because we couldn't have known how much we have permeated until one of major television stations in this country, the AIT, launched an online voting. Within 24 hours, UPP was coming third. And when my attention was drawn to it, my vote was not even included in our coming third. And most of our direct supporters were not involved. As we were getting ready to vote, they shut down the thing. And, so we were pleasantly surprised that our grassroots mobilization has already worked. Because if we are 14 going for a race, and you are doing third already, with our limited resources, that's some effectiveness, that's some encouragement.
Tell us more about your traditional method, which you have just told us. If it was good and that perfect, why do you think that the media should be blamed for two parties that have not used your traditional method, but they are well known to the extent that you feel it the same way that most people
our
have
methods
felt it?
are good, but they may not be perfect. Because he said if they are good and perfect, they are good, but they may not be perfect because of course, paucity of funds. But we also know that political parties have been assured by the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission that in terms of news coverage, political parties will be given level playing field, equal airtime. But in terms of commercial placements, yes. I wouldn't want to say why would the channel take more advertisement from party A or B and not us. We have to pay for these things. So I want us to draw a line between commercial placements, which these richer ones are entitled to do. And as I said, they're also entitled to the luxury of jamborees and fiestas, cultural fiestas. But in terms of giving all the parties news coverage, there are activities going on all the place. I've not come here to indict the media, but I'm saying that what has gone out there to the public is that there are only two political parties contesting. And that made so many people get withdrawn. But the more they got to know that they really have options, the more they got interested in the PVC. Remember, that's what we are talking about. And so the great interest you are seeing now is because people have now begun to see that there are options.
You appear happy with third and not first.
Well, if you are 14 doing a race and you are 2 years old as a political party and you are beating some who are 9, 10, 15 years old and you are doing third in that race and the race is not finished, you might overtake. There could be arthritis or muscle pull one of those in front and you overtake and brace the tape, politically speaking. And look at the two in front of me. They have serial, multiple counter litigations in all the courts, challenging their eligibility and qualification for the election. And we are the only ones clean as my dress. So we are moving sure-footedly towards the tape.
You have governorship candidates as well?
Yes, we have
in all the states?
Of course, not in all the states, but again, even in that one, we're also coming toward in terms of participation at that level. I'll tell you why.
You're also hoping for muzzle pulling those ones too.
Yeah, because I see that was the basis. Of course, the National Election Debate Group said as much, that they used the participation of the parties in the elections to group them for the debate. And I'm paid with the president and General Buhari and the Kowa party on the basis, not because it is Chekwas Okorie, but because UPP has as many candidates for all the elections as to qualify us for the Premier League.
Let's get to this next one. Why are you running for this office?
Wonderful. I am running for this office to do certain things differently. That is why we call our own revolutionary agenda. Some said transformation, fine. But after 6 years, you have not been transformed for the better, then it could as well be called a transgression against you. Some said it's change. For us, it's a flip of one side of the coin to the other side of the coin, because we haven't seen any difference between APC and PDP. But here we are, coming with certain measures that practically no political party will have the courage to do. And I believe I am the only presidential candidate today that articulated his own manifesto, of course drawn from the party manifesto, in writing, and it's being circulated, and a copy of which I've also given here. So some of the things, for instance, everybody says we will fight corruption, everybody says insecurity will be fought, but nobody is bold enough to say how. So in our own agenda, the revolutionary agenda, we have come with how. Because you have to start from the top. That's the only way you can have trickle-down effect down the line. You can't be talking of anti-corruption when the person at the top is everything about him, surrounding him, his friends, everything smacks of corruption.